welcome to the Alton Board of Selectmen, October 14th, 2025 meeting. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence?
United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have some amendments to the agenda this evening. After number 1, I'd like to add in a sub to that one. It's engine 4 repair. That's under new business. And then under old business, I'd like to strike number 2. And in its place, I'd like to discuss the Green Oaks blasting permit. Do we have any other amendments to the agenda? Make a motion, we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. The announcements. The public participation policy applies to all selectmen meetings. A copy of it is on the back of each agenda, posted outside this meeting room and on our website. Please be advised that the Town Clerk Tax Collector's Office will operate with limited hours on Wednesday, October 29, 2025, and Thursday, October 30th, 2025, due to the majority of staff attending the New Hampshire City and Town Clerks Association's 100th Anniversary Fall Conference, Annual Fall Conference. Adjusted office hours. Wednesday, October 29th, they will open at 7 and close at noon. Thursday, October 30th, they will open at 12 and close at 5. We kindly ask for your patience during this time of reduced staffing. The decision to offer limited hours was made to minimize disruption while allowing staff to attend this required annual meeting in accordance with RSA 31:8. We appreciate your understanding and encourage residents to plan accordingly. Public input, number 1, limited to 3 minutes per person on agenda items only. Seeing none, I will close public input, go right into appointments, and since we have none of those, we'll go into new business. Number 1, Fire Department, Alton Firemen's Association donation, emergency plug devices. Bring it on down, Chief.
Good evening.
How's it going?
Great, yourself, thank you.
Not too bad.
Looking to see if the town will approve a donation from the Alton Firemen's Association that's the title of the association. They raised funds and purchased plug devices for emergency electric vehicles. Basically, these render the vehicles inoperable in the event of an emergency with the vehicle. Let's say there's a patient inside we can't access. Basically, when you plug in at a charging station, my understanding it prevents the vehicle from going and drive and be able to operate. So these mimic that. Obviously, we don't have portable charging stations with us, so one will be placed on each of the primary ambulances, and I think it's a good tool and appreciate the association continued support of the fire department.
And they were donated?
They were donated. So basically, they did the fundraising, purchased 2 of them. Yeah, they were around $1,000 a piece.
Yep.
Purchased 1 for each of the primary ambulances.
$960 each.
There's always something new coming along.
It is. Always trying to keep up.
Yeah, and it's a good idea if that has been a problem.
Yeah.
Do you like us to vote on just approving it?
Approving the donation,
Accepting it?
accepting the donation, yes.
Yeah, the only thing, I just wanted to clarify, the letter dated October 1 says they're valued at $960 each. So the 2 of them are actually $1,920, not $1,960 as the letter stated.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. I will make a motion, we accept the donation valued at $1,920 for the purchasing of 2 emergency plug devices from the Alton Firemen's Association.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, going right into engine 4 repair.
Perfect. This is kind of hot off the press. Late Thursday afternoon, Engine 4 was responding to an incident. Went into limp mode. Basically, we were able to get it back to the station, get the code cleared, but it came back, so we brought it up to the Cummins dealer. Basically, the DEF system shot the bed, I guess you could say. I use other terminology. I'm just trying to remember. It was to replace that piece was $48, $38, $28, so $4,800. $38.28. During their fixing that part, replacing that part, they also found a crack in the flex exhaust pipe, which they believe helped this process along. That part, the DF part was under warranty up until February, of course, so now it's no longer under warranty. And through E1 to get that pipe piece replaced, it's about $1,000 because it's an OEM part, especially designed the way the cab of the truck is made. So wanted to keep the board apprised that it's about a $6,000 fix that we were not anticipating. Inquiring whether or not the board would be in favor of using CRF funds to fund that repair. Currently, we have approximately 1.1 million in the fire department equipment fund, and just looking for direction or comments or.
Do you have any funding available in the normal operating accounts?
We can, I think we're gonna be right up against the bottom line budget towards the end of the year. We still have to transfer some of the money specifically like at overtime from the operating budget into the ambulance revolving, which we haven't done yet. So I'm just trying to be cautious on all aspects, and again, just looking for direction, and if we gotta pull out of the operating budget, we'll make it work, as always.
How bad was the crack in the flex pipe?
I haven't seen it yet. It's just coming back from the Cummins dealership as we speak.
So they didn't fix that yet?
Because that hasn't been fixed. It's not a standard pipe that was made through E1 where we purchased the apparatus. So talking with the E1 rep, he said, yeah, they're approximately $1,000 to have that piece of exhaust pipe fixed, replaced.
Does that truck get inspected?
It got inspected last month, yes.
It got
That's
inspected.
another,
I said it got inspected last.
Yeah.
And the code problem was already taken care of.
So the stuff for the DEF specific has been fixed and remedied. The other issue is now the flex pipe on the exhaust that still needs repair, and which kind of I okayed it to get it repaired, just looking at the funding mechanism for that so that it's put back in operation.
So is this $6,000 part of both repairs?
Correct. So it's
So the work had
48.
already been done on partial.
Correct.
of it.
And then now with the flex pipe is the last standing piece of that to
Where does it
repair.
have to go for that?
Through E1 DeSorcy is our E1 rep.
Yeah, but where does the truck go to get fixed?
They can do mobile.
They'll do it at the
mobile
station.
repair, yeah.
Not sure, Ryan, where would we pull something like that from?
So the fire department has a healthy equipment capital reserve. I believe it has
6,000.
just over $1.1 million in it. So in the sense in the scheme of things, as tight as the operating budget is right now, we're slated to make it through the year, but we do not have nearly much cushion to make that happen. So in light of the healthy capital reserve, the chief had asked if we could talk about it tonight about pulling that money for the emergency repairs out of the capital reserve instead of trying to hit the operating budget.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm just trying to wrap my head around, it rendered the truck useless?
Basically, so it went into limp mode. We were able to get it back to the station.
Limp mode, yeah.
Limp mode. So
Yeah.
cleared the codes. They ended up coming back, so we were able to get it up to the Cummins rep to check out the codes, and through that process they found that the DEF system, which I'm not a fan of. I'm sure everybody who drives trucks who not a fan of, but it is where we're at.
Yeah, and that was the only place that you went to
Correct.
back there to
It's coming.
get the price on that and everything, so you had it fixed before.
Correct.
No,
So I okayed to fix the repair to get it done, and then just looking at the funding mechanism. That's all.
Yeah, I don't have a problem taking it out of that, get it fixed and get it back on the road.
Okay. So the total 6,000 is what you're looking for?
Yeah, so it was 4,800. I'd say up to 6,000. And we got quoted.
Exceed 6,000.
Shouldn't exceed 1,000 on the flex pipe.
Out of the CRF.
All right. I will make a motion, we approve the chief to be able to expend up to $6,000 out of the capital reserve fund to make the necessary repairs to engine 4.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can you tell them that crack occurred before February?
That's the way it always
Thank you,
is.
chief.
Do you have the details on the paperwork for the repair?
On the flex pipe or the,
Both.
I don't have the flex pipe, and that was just,
Okay.
heat pipe from if you want.
Yeah, no, I wanted to see that. That was what I wanted to see.
That's it.
Just ash leveling it was high.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make sure it was plugged.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You want, she have a phone?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thanks, Stacy. All right, I guess we'll move along to the dental insurance coverage.
Take it away, Laura.
Here we go. You're on.
I heard you were gonna sing after.
Hit the little button.
You gonna sing after? No? Stacy says.
No, no, no.
Okay, well, it's open enrollment time. So we decided with our new brokers.
It's on.
There you go.
Can you hear me now? Our new brokers, which is Melcher and Prescott, we had them shop around and give us some quotes. So if you look at this, they did some benchmarking for us. And it's showing that we're actually below market with our group life insurance. We currently have a $30,000 paid by the town in life insurance. They recommend it's 1 times your salary to 2 times your salary right now. That's the market. Then they did our short-term disability. We are well below market. We do $300 a week. The benchmark is $750 to $1,500. So we were looking at, since we were doing our dental, who we currently have MetLife, that we would do the shopping of the group life and short-term as well. So if you go to this is the review of what they found. This is just a quick overview of what we have, MetLife, and then they did standard insurance. They did Unum insurance for short-term, and for dental, they did standard Unum and Delta. Delta is a really good policy, but it's probably another $28,000 a year, and I don't think that we financially should go with that at this point in our budget. So I'm suggesting we go back to the standard where we went after NHIT left as our brokers. We had them. We went with MetLife. The employees are not happy with MetLife. It's very hard to get reimbursed. It's hard to find dental coverage that takes your insurance. So we're suggesting to go back to the standard, which is the exact same plan. Because when we went to MetLife, they copied the standard plan we had. It's just not user-friendly.
So which ones did the employees want to go with the one you recommended, right?
Yeah, if you go to this paper, the color-coded one,
Yeah.
the green is what we currently have.
Yep.
The purple is what I'm recommending.
That's beneficial to the employees, right?
It's pretty much the same coverage that they have. It's actually gonna save a little bit of money.
Okay.
I just threw in the Anthem cost, even though we're locked in for Anthem for when we had that change. I just wanted you to see that. But the dental vision it's only a savings of 126, but you get better coverage. The life, I suggested instead of doing the 1 times your salary, just going up to 50. We've had 30 since I've been here. I'm sure it's been 30 all along. I mean, that's only a $2,000 increase. And then the STD premiums, they're suggesting we go up. I do not. At this point in time, we barely use it, so I'm thinking that's not a cost that I'm looking to. So that'll actually save us $702.
So it's only like a $1,000 spread on.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. And then including,
Staying low, I'm sure you know what you're doing.
yeah,
We
Yeah.
could go with the Cadillac, only 28.
the dental, yeah, Delta.
You said one of the
Better for the employees?
Yeah.
It is a Cadillac plan. It is really good. Like there's a rollover and all this other stuff, but it was really not cost effective for this year. We can shop again next year and see where we're at. But
She vetoed you, all right.
and I also added the employee assistance program because we did not have one with with MetLife, which I think is important to have here. We've always had one before. It's important. I mean, I have handed out multiple to employees that have actually utilized the services that they give.
Employee assistance, that's key for, any sort of counseling.
you know, taking care of a loved one, to legal advice, to, you know, you can call them for anything. Yeah, mental status, you know, you're having some issues at home, you can call them and they'll give you guidance.
I think, you know, we'll go with your recommendation this year, but hopefully for next year, we can budget in for
The better.
the better one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if all goes well.
So I'm clear on this. The town pays 100% of health insurance for every employee and their spouses and their family.
No.
No, that's not what I'm reading? Okay.
Yeah, what are you looking at?
Well, here in your summary sheet,
Okay, yep.
we have 28 families, number of employees, 28.
So you have 28 employees that have the family plan.
Okay.
Some of those employees pay 3.5%, some don't pay any. Then you got 11, it depends on how many hours they work as well. We have a few people that pay a lot more, but most of your employees pay 3.5% of their premium.
Okay.
Your department heads do not.
Okay. And with the dental,
It's 80-20 for most staff, except your department heads. And then if you have a part-time, again, they pay based on their hours that they work. It's a percentage.
Does the dental plan have an annual cap?
It does. I believe it's $17.50. It's pretty much what we have now. You'll see that all in this one, the standard.
Yep.
We'll outline that for you. Here. Plan 1, I believe, yeah, it's Plan 1. Maximum per person is $17.50 for the calendar year.
Mr. Chairman, I don't, it's a lot of information here. Are we looking for a vote tonight, or is this something for our consideration? I would really like a little bit of time to sop this up as best I can.
Or is this just informational?
So I'm just looking for permission to switch from MetLife to the standard and to increase our life, pretty much. That's really the only difference. We have the same dental plan now, it's just with a different company.
And what is the amount of the increase?
Of the dental,
No, of the total plan.
The cost difference.
Cost difference.
total cost
So-
in the town.
it's right here, this is what we're currently paying is in green.
Yep.
So it's actually a savings annually. It's not a lot, it's $126, but it's a savings. Of what coverage we have right now, yeah. Yep, the only difference, like I said, we're going from 30,000 life, and you don't have to choose that. You can keep it at 30,000 and go into 50 instead of one-time salary. I mean, it's never been used, thank God, but just, I mean, $30,000 now for a service is probably not a lot.
Clarifying,
Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
that's a work-related death. That's not just open life insurance for every employee. That's if.
If it's on the job.
Yeah, God forbid if it was work-related.
And just so you know, the benchmarks that he did is only in municipalities between the 50 to 99 employees in New England. So it's not private sectors, it's not that, this is just municipalities and tells you how low we are based on everybody else.
Do you know if there was much difference in the values between the New England representative group or a group that represented just New Hampshire?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you take the averages, costs across the 6 New England states, there are at least 2 of them I know of who are pretty crazy, if you will, from a taxpayer's point of view. Whereas if you were to look at the costs across New Hampshire towns, you might have a different comparison. And maybe not, I don't know.
I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at his whole, there's like a 100-page packet I can give to you where he gets that information. If you want that, I can give that to you. The whole. So I don't know if he did New England, that's what he told me, New England municipalities. So I see what you're saying, you wanna know if New Hampshire's different from like the other New England states. I see what you're saying. I can find out for you. Sure.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it appears as though the amounts involved, if we have a dental, improved dental plan that offers better benefits and a better response for employees, and the cost difference is infinitesimal and actually in our favor, I can't imagine anybody that would object to it.
I think she's looked at this probably more than she had to, I'm sure, so I'm gonna probably side with her recommendation on this one. Does anybody
Well,
else?
you know, you usually do, dot your i's and cross your t's on insurance, especially insurance. And usually find the best that's available for the town and for the people, so, I'd be inclined to go with it.
Mr. Carter?
I guess I'm having a little trouble hearing tonight for some reason, but I'm fine with the dental. I just think approving any additional costs at all at this time is not wise, so.
Okay. And so this is a savings though, this is not additional costs.
So your dental is the
The
same?
dental is the savings.
The dental is almost the same. I mean,
Right.
$126 savings.
Yeah.
Your short-term disability is exactly the same benefit at a savings. It's the only thing I increased was the life. So if you'd rather keep it at 30,000, that's totally up to the board.
So if we kept it at the 30,000, it would stay the same.
Yes.
There'd be no increase at all and still have the decrease in the dental.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Selectman Carter, given our current budget situation. Anything that we can do to avoid increases in costs is attractive. And my experience from past lives is that employees don't pay much attention to life insurance as a benefit. It's just something that gets mentioned somewhere.
I don't think I agree with that. The only reason I say that is if we go from 30 to 50, if, you know, an on-the-job death occurs, I mean, that does give them an extra cushion, God forbid anything like that does happen. Can we approve the dental and then can we wait on this so we can talk about it a little more? Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you guys okay with tabling the other parts of it? So we can at least look it over a little better, but.
Yeah,
get the dental?
I would
Okay.
encourage it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay either way.
Right. You want a motion for this, Laura?
Yeah, and if you would like, town administrator to sign for it.
I'll make a motion, we approve the new dental plan, with Ryan Heath, the town administrator, as the, person to sign the contract for it.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
A lot of information here, a lot of work.
Yeah, there is a lot.
So, guys, we'll read through this and then we'll reconvene and figure out how we wanna do that other thing. The other part of it?
The other part.
If we want to amend it, if we want to change it.
If we want to change the life insurance or anything else on the plan.
That would just
Yep.
give us some time to read it.
Yep.
So, and just to remind the board, this is, health insurance, we're still under contract with Anthem.
Mhm.
Now, since the health trust had gone under and we went back in, but we locked in to a 3% increase for 18 months. Which is a godsend compared to what we've been hit with in the last couple of years.
Right.
So just, Laura was trying to show, these are what they call the ancillary
Ancillary.
benefits to our health insurance. They're not part of that, so any changes that we make do not change the meat and potatoes of our medical coverage.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Laura.
I think Laura, you're up for budget proposals as well. Is that you? That's Laura.
She's gonna make me do the most of it. She's gonna chime in when I say something wrong. So if, tonight, and recognizing, that you folks haven't had your budget books long,
Mhm.
the thought tonight, and by certainly, any suggestion to table a budget that we go through, it would be fine. What I had teed up for tonight was just, a lot of the very small, um, admin type budgets that we go through that don't have a lot of, changes or increases, or if they do, it's easily explained. And then, like I said, in any, we get to any part of a budget, you'd like to table it because you need some more time to think about it, that's fine too. But I'd like to try to get through, just a few budgets tonight if we can. Just to give us a head start for the step when we start teeing up DPW and fire and police, we're gonna need some time. So if we wanna start, we can start by looking at assessing, which is 4193. And going through the changes for assessing, when you look at, so the bottom line for 2025, our current budget is 151,644. This budget proposal has a total of 176,385. The key areas, obviously, where the increases are is, wages, full-time wages. The other one is, that's a significant increase, is the contracted services. And in looking at that, the big jump in the contracted services are the pickups and the preparation, because 2026 is a reval year. So, Whitley Consulting's fees are increased in the amount of, time that they are doing pickups and field work. The other one is map updating, and this is the updating to our tax maps. Other than that, those are the three areas. Oh, excuse me, office supplies increased, slightly too, and that was, in regards to, price increases for, what's that? Ink, the ink chart, yeah, the ink cartridges, went up significantly.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. Does anybody have anything to add to the budget for this one? Or amend, change?
This stuff looks like it's kind of out of our control. You know,
Well, this is the line total, the 176, 335, 56.
Yep.
Yes.
Is for the assessing department. I'll,
And I don't know where the change came from. Can you answer that?
Oh,
The 56 cents?
it's
Because we,
from his office supply line.
oh, okay,
on the supply
yeah.
line. Okay.
So we will correct that and round, to the nearest dollar on that, because we don't do cents with the budget.
Justification for that.
So on that office supply line item, we have only expended $441 so far this year, but we expect we're gonna be spending 3 times that next year?
Yes, his justification came to that is, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, there's a new printing system down there. And the amount of additional printing, it's the increase in the ink cartridges for that particular printer. And they're anticipating, twice as much mailings and printing as this year because of the reval.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns, gentlemen? Can't see where it could be cut anymore. I'll make a motion, we approve the assessing budget at $176,385. 176.
86.
Yep, $176,386.
Can I ask a question? And I'm sorry I'm behind here, but
You're
it took me
fine.
10 minutes to find
That's up.
the tab. The full-time wages, is that an individual salary increase from 122 to 130, almost 133? Or it's probably spelled out here and I didn't read it.
No, that's two full-time employees, that's, the assessor and the, administrative assistant in the assessing office combined.
The justification is $10,000 higher than what's being requested.
Yes.
So yes, there was a, and the reason for that is the particular situation that we're dealing with in assessing right now. The assessors reduced his salary to the contracted services because of the unique situation that we're faced with.
So we just moved that 10,000
So,
to the contract.
yeah, the 10,000 was moved to contracted services because currently, right now, the assessor is unable to fulfill some of the field requirements.
Yep, okay.
Right here.
Any more questions?
Not for me, no.
No.
I second.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Motion, well, the budget passes.
Okay, the next one is audiovisual. Should be the next one in alphabetical order,
Yep,
I think.
it is.
This one, pretty easy, self-explanatory. We keep it consistent at $2,000, and that is to repair or replace any of the audiovisual equipment being used either at the hiking room, the meeting room, or anything else that's related to our audio-video needs for public meetings.
is that typical of what we're likely to spend in a year, do you know?
Yes, that's usually where we brought it down. It used to be up a little bit higher, but we consistently, we've made several improvements to our systems, both audio and visual, that we don't have as many failures. But unfortunately, the cost of equipment, we get one camera that goes down, is pretty close to $2,000.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the budget for 2026, the audiovisual equipment department for $2,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Budget passes.
Okay, if you want to jump up to Budget Committee. And the Budget Committee, I had a conversation with them at our first meeting, and the Budget Committee's budget is level funded from last year. One of the changes they made, and again, it doesn't reflect in a dollar amount, but they made some changes going from an AI transcribing software that was unsuccessful for 2 years, to doing a wage stipend for a secretary who would be responsible for providing minutes and whatever documentation in the binders that is required of the Budget Committee. But again, they're level funding that price.
So I'll make a motion to approve the Budget Committee budget for 2026 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Budget passes.
What?
I should be talking.
Next one is Conservation Commission. Conservation Commission has gone from, the current budget is $22,946. Requested 26 budget is $24,060, roughly about a $1,000 increase. And I think if you look at the part-time wage, which is a part-time secretarial position, assistant, conservation assistant, there was an increase there. And then the other increase came from the Lake monitoring program. And that's increased sampling around the lake and the cost associated with that.
Any questions, comments, or concerns, gentlemen?
Do we by chance duplicate any state efforts in all of the testing?
No, there's no duplicating. Most of all these are locally generated efforts.
Yeah, we supplement the state's information.
Sure.
Anybody else? I will make a motion, we approve the Conservation Commission budget at $24,060.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Budget passes, I should say.
Next one is emergency management. Emergency management is again level funded. There's no increase from 2025's default of $11,003. Reason for that is the large placeholder for emergency management is line 100, which is preparation and response. Obviously, that is money that we keep in there, which is a very modest amount when responding to a natural disaster or some type of, damage created through storms or anything like that, or if we had to, God forbid, respond to an active shooter situation. The other thing is we keep $1,000 in the New Hampshire HSEM grant line, and what that is that we need to keep that line open. Usually we apply for EMPG grants, which are our performance grants through emergency management. When we need certain equipment, we get generators through there for different buildings and shelters. We, in the past, have gotten our emergency management trailer through that program. I've probably done at least all of our updating for our local emergency plans and hazardous mitigation plans comes through grants in that program. So these are the two lines that we predominantly keep open from year to year for regular needs of the community.
Okay. Level funded. Yeah. Any questions, comments, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion to approve the Town of Bolton 2026 budget proposal for emergency management for $11,003.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Budget passes.
Next one I have on here is Gillum Museum. So with the Gillum Museum, this is, does it look like it's level funded again?
Small increase.
Oh, yes.
The contracted services are up. Not very much. Over $300.
Then I think that was due to an increase in our alarm monitoring expenses.
It says. Yep. Questions, comments, boys?
Do you know if Ryan, if the new propane furnace reflected any savings or whether that was already realized last year?
To my knowledge, I don't know if it was really realized yet this year because of its lack of regular use. I mean, we maintain the temperature, but it's not maintained at a real high temperature. So, I mean, as far as the amount of fuel used, it was pretty consistent.
Anybody else? I will make a motion, we approve the
Town of Alton 2026 budget for the Gilman Museum at $8,444.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Budget passes.
Next one we can go to is Household Hazardous Waste Program, HHW. And, this budget is level funded again this year. We've been comfortable with the level of funding, but as you recall, we had to make some, drastic changes in that program. Right now, we need to be able to fund not only our membership to the Lakes Region Planning Commission, but also to the Household Hazardous Waste program for Lakes Region, and that's where these funds will be utilized. They'll be repurposed, still for household hazardous waste, but toward our membership with Lakes Region Planning Commission and their solid waste, or hazardous waste program.
And those total costs came out to pretty much the same as they had been in the old system.
Yes, they did. Yes, we did have some straggler bills from the old system as we merged over. But there are a few more from just our baseline subscriptions. There are some dumpster fees and some additional ancillary costs that come along with that program. But we are confident that this level funded budget will cover those expenses.
Any other questions? I will make a motion, we approve the Town of Alton 2026 budget for household hazardous waste at $27,568.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Budget passes.
So next one is short-term interest. Well, short-term interest is a line that we keep open with $1.
Oh, okay.
This is just in case we have to keep a line open in case we need to expend for, out of a tax anticipation loan, a TAN. We haven't had to use something like this, in my experience, but we have to make sure that have a line that we could use if we needed to.
Okay. We'll make a motion. Oh, God, no, please, no.
Make a motion for the 2026, interest on tax, revenue application fees for $1.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Budget passes.
Next one is
Patriotic purposes.
This one's got a jump that we gotta talk about.
Yes.
See that?
Which one is next?
Patriotic services.
The fireworks.
Yeah, so the big decision that the board needs to talk about is it's the fireworks. We're in default, and at the default, we didn't have both displays budgeted when we went to default. So it didn't carry over any costs associated with the old home day fireworks. This year, as you know, we made the decision to forego them because of the lack of funding. But this budget increase to $35,690 reflects a 4th of July contracted expense of $22,500 and an Old Home Week expense of $12,000. So these are the typical firework displays that the town holds. These are contracted costs from the fireworks. Is it called pyrotechnics now, Stacy? Pyrotechnics. Used to be Atlas. I will tell you that we did shop this. The problem is we can't get anybody to bid on 4th of July because we have to change our day. They're all booked on the 4th of July, and the only place that we have that schedule booked for the town is through Pyrotechnics, because of all the years that we've used them. If we deviate, there is a big risk, a real risk that we're gonna lose 4th of July and just have to choose another weekend. But those are just things that the board needs to take into consideration.
We've been a third, we've gotta maintain that.
The 4th.
been on the fourth, right?
Third.
Oh, it's on
It's
the
always,
third.
it's always
Oh,
been on
and
the third.
Stacy reminded me too to let you know that a lot of the companies will not do barge shootings. That's unique. A lot of them won't deal with the barge.
Okay. I don't hear it.
What's everybody's thought on the Old Home Week?
I think we can drop Old Home Week.
I think that's probably what's gonna have to transpire.
that
So
depends.
we wanna change, oh, God.
No, go ahead.
No,
I
I
might
was gonna say,
contend
let's
this.
change the line item to 22,500.
Would we consider giving, as it's kind of an emotional issue and it's a straight up and down issue, doing this as a warrant article rather than as part of the regular budget? And let the people say, yes, we want it, or no, we don't.
I think most people feel very strongly that the Fourth of July fireworks that is the most important, and that we can't deviate from that. But as far as Old Home Week has already been reduced this past year from a full week to a weekend, and
Participation wasn't there.
participation wasn't there as much. And it could have been because of the lack of fireworks, but I think most people understand, knowing that the budget that we have now, and the default budget that we've had, that it's important, at least for now, for the next few years, to not bother with Old Home Week, in my opinion.
And focus on July 4th.
Focus that we make sure we have Fourth of July.
I'm not hearing a whole lot of support for a warrant article.
I just don't wanna muddy the waters with a lot of warrant articles this year.
We have quite a few of them as it is.
Mr. Carter?
Well, I think, I don't wanna cut this thing all the way down to only the value of the fireworks. I think
Oh, just that one line I had,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just the one line.
So I'd like to make a motion, that we advance this 2026 budget for patriotic purposes in the amount of $23,690 by eliminating the fireworks at Old Home Week.
Yes.
Sorry, what was the overall total again? Just so
23,690? If my math was correct.
690.
Is this math correct, Laura? All right.
I will second that. All those in favor of adjusting the budget?
Aye.
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 Budget passes as amended.
Right. Street lights. Another complicated subject.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I know some years back, we were tasked as selectmen to go around and look at all the lights in town and document how many of them were needed and what was done, and I don't think the full, research on that was completed.
We just did that to mess with you.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it was, it sounds high, for the amount of streetlights we have here for that amount, but, the ones that are there seem to be necessary.
Absolutely, yeah. I've kept this level funded every year since I've been here, and I'm sure it was pretty close to level funded. I have gone back and looked at the years, and they fluctuate up and down. They don't realize the same impact that our residential or commercial lighting bills, because I don't know if it's more consistent, but they are charged at a different rate. So we don't see those big increases and fluxes. A lot of the price difference also comes into how many are out at a certain point in time. But this number still seems to be doable, and as long as we can keep it at this number, I feel comfortable doing so moving it forward, especially in the budget's status we're in right now.
And we did have a reduction in one, which was on School Street.
We got rid of that one.
We got rid of one of them, because we had two of them, if I remember.
Yeah, but they took the one that they weren't billing.
Oh, so those
Yeah.
were ours.
So I just noticed, though, when we look at our expenditure detail, that we have spent almost 91% of that line item, and we're 83.33% through the year, and we've got obviously longer days coming to wrap this year up. So do we think that the 33.5 will cover us to the end? Be close?
I think it's gonna be close. We may be a little bit over, but I think that we'll be able to handle it. It won't be anything that's gonna be detrimental.
Okay.
Should we amend it another 5 or just leave it the way it is? To account for the overage?
No, I want that 5.
Okay.
Other places. No, I think we can, if any place we can manage, this is manageable. There's certain other areas that we're not gonna be able to manage, so those ones I'm trying to pick and choose my battles here on that, so. Right now, you're not seeing any big battles tonight. We have one more budget we can do welfare and then we're all done, but these are all, very light hitters in comparison.
out of the way.
Yeah, where we're gonna be going with this.
Any other questions, comments, boys? I will make a motion, we approve the town hall 2026 streetlight budget at $33,500.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Budget passes.
Alright, last one we'll do tonight is welfare. So, welfare is up from 27,483 to 35,158. First of all, obviously, there's a little bit of an increase in wages, which is pretty minor, cause these are stipend positions. But the main bump is general assistance. We have realized a big jump in general assistance, to residents on, who qualify for welfare. We did lower this substantially a couple years ago. And I think as, the need has become greater since the economy has inflated and rent and utilities have gone so high. That we, I think more people are feeling that burning and qualifying for welfare at that point in time, or seeking the assistance of welfare, I should say. Um,
Yeah, I remember for a long time, this was almost a zero item as far as applicants for assistance.
mhm.
What is the average length of time that individual gets assistance?
That, I don't think there's a, go ahead.
Is there a time limit?
He's the welfare guru.
4 or 5
5
months.
months.
Oh, no, yeah. That's usually the winter months.
And we do have a lot of other programs that we throw in with this. We do have the Gillum Fund, right? No, what's the Heike Fund, I'm sorry. That's for yeah, but I mean, there's other resources that cater to different demographics, like that particular fund is for seniors
Right.
to stay in their homes here in Alton, and then we have, the West Alton Fire thing that was put in there, that one's open for all.
Might not qualify, but just under that line, I have the ability to also.
Just letting you know, there are other avenues out there besides just the general, because this would be much higher if we didn't have any other avenues.
Right. There's been a sure increase across the board.
Any questions or comments, gentlemen?
No.
I'll make a motion, we approve the town hall 2026 welfare department budget at $35,158.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Budget passes.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. We got through those, and we're gonna work with the rest of my staff to get some more budgets into your binders. So what we'll do is we'll print them off, let you know. If you have them, get them to you, in a little bit of advance notice, so you know what's coming up. And then we'll start scheduling some of the big departments in very shortly here, to get through those.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Laura. All right, moving into old business, number 1, fire department, request for federal equipment.
Good evening again. I guess there were some questions and I'd like to have the opportunity to answer those or clarify any information regarding my proposal for the acquisition of a surplus vehicle from the federal government surplus program.
If I may, Chief, not to interrupt you, but I'd like to just address the board real quickly because this was a miscommunication between the chief and and I reached out to you after the last meeting. I did want to, on the record, put that out there that Selectman Carter did ask if that F-150 was part of the request, and I had confirmed that it was not. The chief had later corrected me on that, and I did want to get this back in front of the board because of the miscommunication and not making sure that we didn't make the board feel that they were misled in any way. So we're here, obviously, to revisit this issue, talk about it. The town is not obligated, but since the vehicle had already been en route, I believe board members have had a chance to look at the vehicle, see it, be a little more familiar with what we're talking about, and obviously have the chief here tonight to talk a little bit more about his intentions and what he's looking to do.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so we're through the federal surplus program, acquired a 2016 Ford F-150, approximately 28,000 miles on it. Belongs to the state, and it's on permanent loan basically to the town until we no longer need it or can utilize it. What we need to do, if the board approves moving forward with keeping the vehicle, is the state registers it, we have to inspect it, insure it through Primex. Basically, we have to put the NRC on, they have an emblem that we have to put a sticker on it, basically just indicating that it belongs to them, but we can still put Alton Fire or Town of Alton lettering on it. Would be utilized as a secondary wildland forestry vehicle for equipment, and we can also utilize it for trainings, inspections, kind of errands throughout for the fire department. This would be in lieu of currently utilize our what we call utility one, which is a 2500 pickup truck that we utilize to tow the boats, the trailers. We use it to plow the fire station, so I don't feel comfortable always sending that out of town for a training or for an inspection. That it's kind of a primary responsive vehicle. We looked at initially at an SUV, but that went rather quickly, just to see what was available through the program. This came up, speaking with Town Administrator Heath. I kind of gave the green light to go ahead and pursue it, and it's a quick process, and that's why that came to be rather quickly, because the vehicles get, or the equipment, for the most part, get spoken for rather quickly, so we had to put, I guess you say, a retainer on it with the state, who does all the legwork for us, through Forest and Lands to acquire the vehicle. And then we're responsible for the delivery fee and any other ancillary equipment or anything that we wanted to put into the vehicle. So that's kind of that in a nutshell. I know Mr. Carter, you had some questions potentially from last meeting and would love to clarify or hopefully answer them for you.
Yeah, I guess I'm really struggling with the whole thing, to be honest with you. Apparently you expended roughly $4,000 last year or in the past year for reimbursement for individuals to use their own vehicles. I saw that somewhere. I can't seem to locate it right at the moment, but
On average, we could say we would expend up to 4,000 in mileage for people utilizing their own vehicles, specifically for trainings, going to the fire academy or a satellite class at another station or department throughout the state. Also trying to reduce the liability with that, with people utilizing their personal vehicles. We had a claim just a few weeks ago where a vehicle got damaged it was not for training, but it was actually an emergency scene where the member had to leave his vehicle to get on the ambulance to transport a patient, came back and found the vehicle damaged. So again, trying to limit the amount of liability out there with personal vehicles, if at all possible. I'd like 0 personal vehicles being utilized for department business, but
That claim was
sometimes,
filed, he filed that claim? That claim was filed?
yeah. So basically, Primex will only cover up to $500 of a person's deductible. So even in the event the vehicle gets totaled, it's on the employees' insurance, and Primex will only cover, I believe it's up to $500 deductible. So another reason why I'm trying to get an ancillary vehicle to help with these types of situations.
So these reimbursable costs to the firefighters it's not to respond to a scene. That's not reimbursable, right? I mean, if
It could be, they could put in for mileage technically, they're using their personal vehicles for town business.
well, shouldn't
Often they don't do that. Go ahead. I know you're gonna, I'm pretty sure I know where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that may be a policy thing that maybe need to be explored, but they really should be responding to the station, and then.
Depends on the situation. So this particular call was a Delta level call with an unresponsive person. So it is quicker for that person to respond, say, from their house on Main Street to Wolfboro Highway than coming to the station to grab another vehicle to. So oftentimes it is the quickest way for someone that's not on duty to respond, whether they're driving through town, they're coming from home to get to the scene. Obviously, depends on the situation. Not every call dictates that. Structure fire, they're not going to be able to do much with their POV, so yeah, they would come grab a fire engine or a ladder truck per se. But kind of on medical calls where it's either a multi-patient or high acuity calls such as CPR in progress, honestly, it is common practice, and it's just second save time, save lives and all that fun stuff. I don't want to put down like a scare tactic because it's not that. It's just the quickest route is from point A to point B sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, this was initially kind of represented to us that the intent was for carpooling for training. Obviously, a single cab is not the best carpooling vehicle out there by any stretch of the imagination.
So oftentimes, most of our outside training or going to the fire academy is 1 to 2 people, usually at most. In the event that we would have a larger training somewhere and we would have multiple employees over the capacity of that vehicle, yes. Car one's available, we could make other arrangements and whatnot to ensure that we had to load up 5 people instead of 2. So oftentimes it's someone, like we have 2 people in paramedic class, so we don't have 5. We have 2 people in an advanced class over in Wolfboro, so, or if someone's taking their fire officer or inspector class, it's kind of singular in that aspect. Plus the utilization for day-to-day like inspections, doing life safety inspections. Typically, it's the Deputy Turcotte currently that utilizes most of those. So I'd rather see a vehicle such as this than the 2500 or the forestry vehicle being utilized for those purposes.
And you're going to do all that you're going to do all of that on an anticipated annual fuel routine maintenance cost of $300?
That's a typo, I apologize. There should have been another zero. Just looking at fuel potentially is a big thing. Tires, we're around $1,000 for a set of tires. Oil changes are roughly $100.
So this is a four-wheel drive vehicle, or?
Drive, yep, single cab. There's no real frills to it per se. I mean, it's clean. I'm not a mechanic. I know Chairman Bonapane and Larishell and Selectman Morse also inspected it. I mean, I don't know if you wish to speak to the condition of the vehicle.
I did. I drove it and I put it up on the lift and checked it all out. The only issue we have with it is the tires. The rest of it, it has 20,000 miles. It's completely rust-free. It drives on the highway good. I don't see any other unanticipated expenses with that vehicle as far as the condition of it right now.
I also spent a minute or two and started it, looked at it, crawled underneath, looked at it, looked like a pretty solid vehicle. Looked solid and ran very well, and again, it only has 28,000 miles on it.
If there was to, I didn't mean.
No, that's fine.
If we were to, go forward with possibly another SUV, if one does come about, would you be opposed to giving this one back?
No.
Okay, if we could find one that would better serve the purpose of the fire
Correct.
department? Okay.
I mean, for me, I think this will also serve like for the ancillary, the forestry equipment, those types of things. Obviously, we can't fit that into an SUV, so it's kind of a catch-22. The primary focus of this program is it has to meet an intent for forestry and wildland. Could we do that with an SUV as a mobile command center type thing, and maybe some, depending on how we set the back up with a command box or not, and for equipment, but that has to kind of have that dual purpose within the request for the vehicle, because it's through, big forest and lands is what we call it, and through the state. They're the doorway to the federal government on the fire side of things versus state police for the police department side.
Yeah, looking at it, when I looked at it, it looked like a very nice vehicle. I think it'll be perfect for what we need, if there's only a couple people going to class or conferences or whatever they're going to. I don't think it'll be an issue.
Basically, when we're done with it, we give it back to them.
Correct. So once we're done with it, hypothetically, if the motor blows in it, we can deliver it to Bear Brook State Park where they're headquartered out of. And the only thing, caveat, we have to keep it for 6 months right now prior to that. So it has to be in our possession for 6 months, and then after that,
What was the transportation cost?
$2,100 to have it shipped.
Have it shipped here.
And you're saying that when we're done with it, we don't ship it back to Cheyenne?
Because it belongs to the state of New Hampshire now, so the federal government relinquished ownership to the state of New Hampshire through the program, and then state of New Hampshire basically has it on permanent loan with the town of Alta.
Right, and just so I'm clear, that when this was all presented to us at our last meeting, it was not a request for permission, it was I have already done this, I hope it's okay.
Yes and no. So I had conversations with TA Heath saying, we inquire about this process, move quickly. The first presentation first vehicle was presented as being a SUV. By the time I got back to the office, we were notified the vehicle was already spoken for. I believe it was the next day or a day and a half later, came back with the F-150 saying this vehicle would also meet our needs. Can we pursue this as well? I don't know if that was with the miscommunication, then kind of got the green light. I think within a day, we were told that it's earmarked for the town of Alton, and started that process. Only because it's a rapid system through that program.
Sounds like the kind of plan where any desirable vehicle is gonna get snapped up long before the next selectmen's meeting.
Correct. My prior department, we acquired 2 vehicles through that, a Humvee for forestry and basically a big giant 2,000-gallon tanker Paystar, and free of charge. The town in Farmington, they got a big roller for the highway department. So we are now through this program, I guess, in that we can inquire about other vehicles. I know highway director asked if we can inquire about a roller, and we're doing that as well. So just as the equipment pops up, it typically goes pretty quick. So if there's anything else the town would like us to inquire about, I'd be happy to do that as well.
A new DPS system for engine 4?
I know, right?
You see any ladder trucks, grab them.
I'll try that.
Would you be opposed to giving them this vehicle, and if another SUV does come up, to switch it out to be an SUV for the ability for them to travel to and from classes?
I'm not sure. I think to me, the process that happened here was a complete fiasco. And there was money expended, $2,000 for the transportation, another $1,000 in tires, that I'm not sure I would have been all on board with, perhaps I would have. But I think what frustrates me the most is that this was represented, that you were looking for an SUV in a perfect world, but here was an example of a pickup truck, and what a great potential deal it was. To me, the truck didn't meet the original intent. So to go through the process and say, okay, if an SUV shows up, we'll spend another $2,000 or $3,000, I think we're just throwing more money.
Just
you
hang
know,
on to what
around.
we have. If
And-
we,
Just a suggestion.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would say hang on, if we choose to do this tonight and keep it, that we keep it for its duration. And then give it back when we have major issues with it or when it's no longer in service.
Yeah, you can't put this toothpaste back in the tube,
No,
so.
no, I think there's a lesson learned here, that,
So the initial request on my end of it, it was basically that we were looking for an SUV or pickup truck type vehicle. The first vehicle that came available was the SUV, which was presented. So it wasn't specifically, we were looking only for an SUV type. We had kind of this blanket of if these types of vehicles pop up.
I thought it was
Available.
strictly SUV. I didn't think you mentioned anything about a pickup. Or anybody did, really.
no, I was
Strictly SUV.
What I'm saying is.
Well, an extra cab,
So
extended, yeah.
through the state program is what I'm talking about when we made that. And I apologize, I wasn't here for the meeting to better articulate and try to explain what had transpired and what we were planning on doing.
So right now, we have sunk costs, if you will, of about $3,000.
I don't think the tires have been purchased yet.
No, we haven't done
So
anything.
if it's $20,
Right. Shipping costs.
but it does need tires.
Yes, they do not pass inspection. They're out of date and actually has the original tires on it from 2016.
Wow.
All the other hoses, belts, all that stuff, I mean, we are talking 10 years old here.
I went through that whole truck, stem to stern. The only issue I found were the tires, and they were out of date. They weren't even dry cracked, so I don't know where that truck's at. But they're just old. They're very old. I wouldn't trust them on the road, but the belts, the frame, all the fluids, everything. It's basic, which is nice because even if it was something else, it wouldn't matter. But no power windows, no power locks. It's got AC. That's it. Very minimal things that could malfunction, I guess. That's the only, we already spent the 2,100. That's the only real benefit I see is that it's a lot less to maintain. But I do completely understand what you're saying,
I think
Mr.
we all-
Carter. I think pushing forward, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but as far as any acquisition requests for any future vehicles or money or grants or funding, there should be a representative from each department here to articulate the information to us.
So we can get all.
Yeah, no offense to you, it was a hindsight.
So he asked me if he should be here, and I said.
No, I know, but it's happened in other departments before, it's
So
not just
that
this
was,
one.
it's on me, for sure.
Clarification.
Okay, it was an error. We make them all the time, it happens.
It's important that we know exactly what the intent is and what the intent of what's the equipment is, what it's needed for, what the cost is. I mean, in this particular case, it's not an expensive cost. It's a vehicle that's, it's a surplus that we can get our hands on. We're gonna have to maintain it. But in the future, that we always take heed and whatever we need to see and discuss, that the department head should be here.
It happens. It happens.
Looking at the vehicle and knowing that you went through it, looked at it, put it on the lift.
I drove it down to Farmington and back on the highway. I made sure that it was gonna be,
Right,
we weren't gonna spend money on this.
right. And again, if the motor or transmission or drivetrain goes, we return it. So it's kind of not that expensive to
The
keep
way
it
it was
higher
brought
than-
around. I guess.
It's just the way it was brought around, and I think that's what
Mr. Carter's
Mr. Carter's getting at, and I agree with him 100% on that. I think now that we do have it, in my opinion, we do have it, we know the condition of the vehicle. The chairman, it was a mechanic, went through it, looked at it. I think it just stands to reason we have it. We may as well use it, in my opinion.
Okay with that, Mr. Carter? I do understand, I completely understand
I
what you're
think we
saying.
all do, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think at this point, it's done,
Yeah.
so.
okay.
You have a place to keep it? Will it be outside or?
Currently outside, yeah, obviously we're strapped for space at the fire department, but with the other smaller vehicles, yeah.
With that being said, obviously, I'm sure the gentleman up here will agree that we'll utilize this as much as we possibly can, as opposed to the other vehicles, which cost us quite a bit of money.
And of course, the selectmen will borrow it when we need it.
Yeah. All right, so, let me look here. I will make a motion, we accept the request for federal equipment from the fire department
In the form of the.
in the form of the 2016 Ford F-150.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Just so, for the record, I'm gonna vote no just to make
Yep,
my point.
that's four,
No.
4 yeas, 1 no.
Okay.
All right, moving to number 2, that is Green Oaks, the blasting permit. Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Want to speak to that, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Go right ahead. I put this on the agenda at the request of some board members who would like a update on the Green Oaks blasting situation and what had occurred.
Perfect. So on September 24th, we issued at the fire department a blasting permit for Green Oaks Realty Development LLC at 398 Suncook Valley Road, which is a quarry here in town, in lack of a better term. The permit was issued to a third-party blaster, Heath Hathaway Drilling and Blasting LLC. They had a scheduled blast time of around 1:15 in the afternoon. We had several other calls in town for fire and EMS. We were dealing with that. I was notified on the radio, or I was asked on the radio whether or not we had, from Alton PD, whether or not we had a blasting permit issued, confirmed. About 20 minutes later, I was requested up to address on Coffin Brook Road for possible debris from the blast that had landed in someone's driveway. Once we mitigated the other incidents that were happening in town, I went up, met Alton PD at this location, confirmed that there was what appeared to be a chunk of granite or rock in a driveway up on Coffin Brook Road. Through my investigative skills, I kind of determined that it came from the blast at the quarry on Suncook Valley Road. With that, trying to keep it, because not everything's complete yet, and I'll get to that, made contact at the pit with an employee that was operating a front-end loader who confirmed that the blaster had already left. There was debris down in the quarry, obviously, where they did the blasting, and what appeared to be stuff from the quarry kind of out on the travel road within the pit. It looked kind of, I guess you could say, fresh rock versus what was kind of around. It didn't look like it was in place. With that, I went back to Coffin Brook Road, kind of did a preliminary search of all the residents in that half a mile to a mile strip, going door to door, trying to make contact with anybody, see if they had any other damages to their residents. I made contact with some, other people were not home. We had also heard through the police department that they were fielding other phone calls from far ends of town with reports of a loud explosion, stuff that people had not experienced before with blasting at this location. From that point onward, I was in contact with an investigator from MSHA. I don't know if you guys folks are familiar with that, Mine Safety and Health Administration. He came by the station inquiring about, this is the next day obviously, and then also trying to get in contact with state police, because they're the ones that issue the licenses for drilling and blasters. Kind of the long short of this part of it now is that I'm still waiting on a final report from MSHA. Currently, the federal government's in a shutdown, and their hands are tied currently, so I have not received that final report. I don't believe they're actively investigating it until the government shutdown is complete. With the state police, they are also investigating it from their point of view, and I'm waiting on their final report. Not that I have any enforcement at this. It's kind of out of the fire department hands or the police department, where state police doing their stuff with the licensing, MSHA doing their stuff with the quarry aspect. I have suspended any blasting until this is resolved through both MSHA and the state police for Green Oaks Realty, and also that his permit was pulled that same day as well. We have not heard, or I have not heard of any other ancillary damages for any other properties, but that doesn't mean that someone didn't realize something happened and because they weren't home. That's kind of where we're at with that whole incident. There are other aspects that we're told or kind of explained, but I don't want to really get into that until the final report is issued, just so I want to make sure that it's correct and accurate information. It's kind of that in a
Who
nutshell.
else was notified that there was a blasting permit issued for that location? Was town hall aware, was the PD aware that there was a blasting permit there?
I do not believe so. So, in our current, we don't have a policy regarding notification. This is the second blast permit that I have issued since I've been here. It's not a common thing that we issue. We are looking at other ways that we can try and be a little bit more informative to the general public that this stuff's going on. So whether we try and get it on social media in the future moving forward. The first one was it was at the same property. I don't recall, we didn't get any calls or reports of anything. There's speculation of potentially too much product being utilized during this particular blast and a couple other incidents. I'm learning this because we didn't have a quarry in my former community, because I would imagine my first thing is like, were there blast mats and that type of thing, and talking with the investigator for MSHA, quarries typically do not utilize blast mats because it's a different type of explosion, because if, just for real Reader's Digest version, that's the face of the quarry. The way the material blows, it's supposed to travel downward into the pit, versus like they're blasting for a new road. That's where they would use the blast mats to prevent material from going up. When I Google map just for information, it was approximately 1,855 feet from where the blast took place to where this piece of material landed in a gentleman's driveway, which is about 0.3 miles or so. So, the blaster was advised that his permit was revoked that same day. Spoke to the gentleman in the excavator, saying again, no blasting until we get this resolved. And I got a shrug and continued on doing what he was doing. So,
I think putting it on record, right now, I live in very close proximity to that. And, if there are any blasting permits ever issued in the future, I think there needs to be a policy put in place to allow the PD notification, both town hall notification. And as far as that property is concerned, I mean, I don't know when you're gonna notify us if their blasting permit gets reinstated.
yeah, so I'm waiting for a kind of a direction from both, primarily for the quarry itself from MSHA. I spoke with him at length for 2 hours, basically trying to understand their process. He says he inspects that pit twice a year. That there are all these little nooks and crannies in communities most people might not even know exist, and to ensure that they're in compliance. He says he didn't have anything specific or anything of this magnitude for any sort of violations out of this particular property in the past. So it might have been a more issue with the third-party contractor doing the blasting versus they're just they're hiring someone to do the work for them. So
That's the primary problem with it, is they're hiring somebody from the outside, so the person receiving the permit technically really isn't even the contractor themselves.
the contractor gets the permit on behalf of
That's why I think the pit's on the hook for this anyway, aren't they?
So the contractor has to have basically as a certificate of liability insurance for the property, and for him or his company specifically, holding them and their insurance company basically liable for damages.
I think pushing forward any sort of blasting that happens in this town should probably go through more channels than just a sign off. Personally, I don't know how you guys feel, but I fielded a lot of calls, messages. There were some really upset townspeople, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
I got a few, but not many.
Yeah, my experience has been when you're blasting is you've got to notify all of the abutters.
I will.
Yeah,
So speaking with MSHA, my understanding through basically with, because this is a pre-existing and pre-approved kind of operation,
Not anymore.
that, basically the on-site notification with their blasts and whistles, I don't know how far like that's supposed to travel. Obviously, if you're quarter to half a mile away, is that, I don't know what the regulations, if it's just within the pit to do their emergency blasting pre and post, blasting, so versus someone making a road, yeah, that I'm not
in
familiar
the
with.
history, go ahead.
Usually it's just a specific set of whistles.
Correct.
How many times, I forget the old combination, but, and that's, as far as, usually this doesn't happen in a pit.
No, it doesn't.
But, so this is kind of out of the ordinary.
It's out of the ordinary and unusual. In the study of what was going on and who's been in their contracts, how often do they actually do blasting?
This was the second one that they, in this calendar year, 2025, so there was a permit pulled in April. And prior to that, I don't know when the previous time they blasted in that pit. It was before my tenure here.
I remember they were shut down for quite a while.
They were.
They were shut down for quite a while, and you were saying that in their general consensus, the way they blast, they don't normally use.
So
Because it's
according to
not-
Hemshaw, because of the way in that they drill the face of the
Yep.
the quarry, if you will,
Yep.
and when
They
it
break it up.
charges, it breaks down kind of like a landslide. Material is not supposed to go up and out. So there might have been other issues with a previous blast that helped this process go the way it
Could
did.
have been a fissure in there.
Correct.
Been improper plugging at the top after you've set the caps. You got to plug
Or
it.
not deep enough.
Yeah.
So there-
Or not deep enough.
With the final report, I think we'll explain a lot more information. I had to get seismograph data and charge data from the blaster, which was submitted to state police, and I have it as well. I don't understand what I'm looking at, obviously, but so they're deciphering that information. They should be able to determine if there was too much material or blasting material and whatnot. But
Something was done carelessly, and it shouldn't have had debris going 1,800 feet.
correct.
And that's just shouldn't happen.
And in
So
fact,
something was done carelessly and something wasn't.
the direction from the face, it went up this way and out, so.
So after your report,
It's absolutely careless.
So definitely after your report and everything, it'd be very important for you to come and let us know exactly what transpires and where it goes from there.
I think we're gonna want to, have an ordinance or regulation that spells out before you blast, who you have to notify, how far ahead of time, how many people, as opposed to, listening for a whistle or hoping that you read Facebook. And I also wonder,
As usually.
if the town has any liability by virtue of the fact that we issued a permit, even though we're not expected to have any technical knowledge to judge whether that particular blast is safe or not.
I believe, isn't the permit the release of liability? Issuing them the permit?
Really, what it would fall under, the town wouldn't assume liability for issuing a permit because our assumptions are that they're operating under the state statute and rules and regulations of the licensing bureau, which is at the state level. And this is the, what is it called, MSHA?
I'm sure. Yeah.
MSHA, that organization is the ones that are sort of their compliance control. So, the town wouldn't be liable because clearly this is not designed within their regulations of licensing parameters to occur. So based on the preliminary conversations until the report comes in, there's several indications that there were missteps, whether they were negligent, reckless, or whatnot. But there were either a combination of drilling, depth issues, locations, prior drilled holes, and/or the large amount of blasting material that was utilized. So all that is supposed to be broke down in the report, my understanding. But yes, it kind of absolves the town of any liability at that point in time, because they're supposed to be meeting those state parameters, those compliance parameters. And if they don't, they're violating their licensing.
So there could be just from both the federal and the state side could be violations on both sides, suspensions of licensee and potential fines could come out of this.
Okay.
So the big thing I'm waiting for is obviously the federal government, that report, and
Sure.
I requested it the day the government shut down. There was one person already still in the office, and he said, "I will see what I can do before 4 o'clock, but other than that, we'll see you when we get back to work." So I said, "All right."
Very good.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate your
Thank you.
support.
All right, moving right along, number 3, Downing's Landing.
All right, Mr. Chairman, this was, put on the agenda as an update, so a few things had taken place. We did get correspondence, it was in your books, from the director, executive director. Senator Gray did push things through. I did have a conversation with Executive Counselor Kenny as well. He stopped here, and then he went down and looked at the site. Subsequently, the director, executive director of Fish and Game reached out and scheduled a meeting here in the afternoon at Town Hall. Myself, the Public Works Director, Chairman Bonapane, and Selectman La Rochelle were able to attend that meeting and field questions and comments and our position as a community about the issues over in Downing's Landing. And I will try to surmise that discussion as best as possible. Really, the position that the state has taken from the get-go is that they believe that their grant criteria that they had received funding from will not allow them to remove the porta-johns or change the location if it downgrades the ADA accessibility. Our way of addressing that matter and discussing it further was that we were prepared to provide an alternative with our permanent restroom facilities that are not far from across the street. Their concern is because of the grade of the parking lot that it was not feasible for ADA access from across the road. When we explained to them that we already had a crosswalk project in motion for the rapid flashing crosswalk and the requirement that DOT had for us to move that crosswalk and create a new opening in the guardrail, it branched into a conversation about the possibility of a ramp that would also feed ADA access to our gazebo on its way by to access to their parking lot, which would in turn make it ADA accessible. And our restrooms are already ADA accessible for use. So that was an option that they hadn't heard yet and didn't really, we didn't get the opportunity to present an option like that until they actually came and sat with us to hear the town's position on things. The other issue that we addressed with them and discussed, it was the idea of being open in the winter. Again, they spoke about their grant funding is for summer recreation, summer boat recreation. So they cannot draw any funding for winter maintenance. Again, that was a position we knew they had taken a long time ago, they just weren't open to hearing suggestions. So this meeting did give us the opportunity to lay out that the community itself was in favor of keeping it open through the winter months, such so that we would actually provide a maintenance agreement with them so that we provided local maintenance in order for our residents and guests to have access to the ice on and off from that ramp as an alternative to the bay ramp. As you know, that fills up quite fast and quite quickly in the middle of winter. So these were the options that we presented to them. We went back and forth. Again, their position was their compliance with their grant requirements and also their inability to obtain funding for that particular ranch for winter operations. We felt that we presented good alternatives. They left the meeting stating that if we presented a plan to them in writing, that they would run it up the flagpole and also check with DOJ about compliance, about the ADA accessibility, if it was considered a downgrade because they had to travel a little farther to the restroom and not directly on site with a portable. I find it hard to believe that they would think ADA compliance is downgraded from a porta-john to
That's just what caught my attention.
to a permanent. I stated it several times in the meeting. I won't say that, I don't know that we won too many people over on the way out, with that meeting, but I will say that they are gonna be forced to at least listen to our plan and send it up. If DOJ says that there's not a compliance issue, that's the only reason why they're hanging on to that right now, that they're saying that it wouldn't be a problem as long as they're in compliance. They don't wanna violate any grant compliance, but.
I will say that in that meeting, one of the last things that was said, I mean, I shoot you straight, I'm as blue collar as they come. One of the last things that was said was, maybe the town should look at alternatives. And I said, well, what kind of alternatives? And we were asked to look at moving the gazebo that has been there many, many, many years. They asked us to move the gazebo, so that's what it looks like.
Because they asked in proximity to the restrooms, the public restrooms, to where the gazebo was, and it's right there.
I would
On
also,
the other side of the,
these two gentlemen will, I'm sure, support me in this, but I would also be remiss if I didn't mention it was brought up last year that parking lot was plowed a few times by independent contractors, personal people, what have you. There was damage done to it, and they had to pay for the damage to be fixed. And it was under that, that area we were talking about where they had mentioned, just roping it off and closing it completely. So all we ask from the public is we are working on it. Please don't plow the parking lot because you do more damage than good helping us with this
because
cause.
they will chain it off.
It was $2,000 last year in damage.
Yeah, there are some, specifically the pavers that they mentioned that are there for part of the, wetland requirements.
Permeability.
Yeah, the permeability, pavers, those, but our suggestion in working with them was that we provided a maintenance plan that we could delineate those areas carefully to ensure that no damage or future damage occurred. So I think that's a good option for them, that we work together to at least make sure those areas are identified and are taken care of properly. So the next step, in this process is Seth and I will be working on Seth was getting them, information that they had asked on our already crosswalk project that was in motion with DOT on relocating that crosswalk. Plus, we were extending the shoulder and paving, to the stairs at the bottom of Bay Hill Road that come out. They wanted us to connect, DOT already wanted us to connect that stairwell to the crosswalk with a walking path that was safe, by extending the shoulder there. So we are already in works to make that happen. So extending it on the other side with a ramp, with an ADA ramp wouldn't be much of a far stretch. And we do have funding set aside for that through, some of the ARPA funds that were originally distributed. They were allocated, for some of to finish up some of these crosswalk projects.
Right. I noticed some of the work was being done this week.
Yep, we just.
Some of the concrete pads were being poured.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they did that right outside, they did the holes and everything.
Yep.
All right, thank you. All right, moving along to number 4, Police Department Prosecutor's Contract Proposal. Gentlemen, you've been very patient back there in the corner.
Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. You guys drew the long stick. Did you
Yes,
get the
we
last?
did. Yeah,
last
last
point?
I had to buy Stacy lunch so I can get earlier on the agenda. No, I asked Lieutenant Bill Tolios to join me. He might be able to answer some questions, all depending on what comes across tonight, because he works a little more directly with the prosecutor. But I think you have the correspondence in your packet.
Yes.
That was from gonna call him Lieutenant Attorney Anthony Estee. He's been our prosecutor, contracted prosecutor for, I think we're pushing 13 years now. Been an excellent prosecutor for us during that tenure. It's evidenced by several other towns in the county have also contracted him to provide misdemeanor and violation trial services, prosecution services, the district court. Um, He has requested to his contract an increase of approximately $8,500. But essentially, I'm looking at paragraph 3 of that email. Um, Under the current contract terms, it would go up by the CPI, which is 2.7%, which would bring him to 63,468. He's requesting an increase to 72,000, mostly related to the extra work he has to put into viewing body-worn camera footage. It's sort of a challenge to figure out exactly how much time he's putting in, but just to kind of give you a rough estimate of sort of what comes with a case is like our average DWI, just look through the videos, but like the shortest ones are like an hour, at least for the primary arresting officer. But more often, the average seems to be about 2 to 2.5 hours. And so as far as case prep for him, he's got to review that video, and not only the arresting officer, but typically there's a secondary officer on that. So there's some time he has to invest. And he's got some experience with some of the other agencies that he prosecutes for. We getting the cameras after they've gotten theirs. And so he knows the impact that has on his being able to process his cases. So now it's a pretty significant jump. After reading this and having some discussion between Ryan and I and talking with Tony directly, he was agreeable, recognizing that it's a pretty sizable increase, but he'd be agreeable to locking that in as a set rate for 5 years. So we would do away with that COLA or that CPI increase each year. So for 5 years, we level funded at the 72. So that was a bit of a compromise there. Otherwise, I'm open to discussion about anything that you'd like to further discuss that.
Alternatives?
Alternatives?
I think it means different people.
In other words, another attorney?
Yeah.
If I may? Sure. Well, one of the things that comes to mind to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, why is it more time to view a video than to read a report and fill out a report? Wouldn't it be the same amount of time to be able to fill out a whole report that you receive from the officer on that particular case, like it was done before? It was all handwritten or typed or reviewed. Why is it more time and more for him to review by looking at a video?
There's a couple of aspects that will apply. One would be just corroborating what the actual report says, right? So if, for DWI, if I'm saying he stepped off the line 3 times, we want to catch that and see if it's on the video or not, right? If slurred speech, we want to confirm that that actually shows up in the video or not. Other things like a domestic case, if there's actual injuries, and seeing what the actual scene looks like.
But wouldn't that be done at the same time you're reviewing it anyway?
So he has to do it to prepare for trial. So it's a little bit different. He may be hearing something from even the defense side that they're going to punch a hole in something. They think that something's inconsistent between the officer's report and what actually comes across. And even if he's not 100% going to trial, he has to be prepared for anything that he's vetting it to see, oh, defense is going to try to say that, he wasn't clear on his instruction on that DWI, that FST. He needs to be ready and prepared to counter that or have the question in his examination to be prepared for that. So, like, yes, our officers are going to have their report done. They're going to do it on best of their recollection. They may review parts of their video to help corroborate and make sure that they got it accurate. But his job as a prosecutor is to be prepared because he's the one who's doing battle with defense. Of course. Right? So he has to invest that time. And he's even going to do it in a general sense for a lot of these plea offers just to make sure that we have a good case or not before he's even offering up the plea. So, again, a little bit hard to 100% pigeonhole him into exactly how many hours he's got put into it. I did that DWI as one that is oftentimes brought to the point, even if it doesn't go to trial, they're geared up for trial generally, and then you get that plea deal. And that's where I look at the kind of the investment of time. Now, he can, the program's pretty good. You can kind of do a speed or like speed viewing and try to get through the video pretty quick, slow down, really watch directly on the parts he needs to. So I'm sure he's doing what he can to expedite the process for himself. But it is an impact. I prepared myself for the impact internally. I did not really consider much of how much it would impact on the prosecution side. And so he references a couple of other increases he sort of tabulated for a couple of the other towns that he did, and he's kind of in the mid-range for us for that increase. But again, like I said, I didn't want to come back again next year saying, well, now I want another increase because I had more DWIs and had more video time. So at least if we lock it in 5 years, we can have a better sense of how much time is actually invested with it.
I do like that part of it.
Yeah.
See the increase, but.
So this dollar amount, we're talking $72,000. This is fixed. This is, I mean, he doesn't come back and say, I have all these other ancillary costs and
Yes,
travel.
so his intent would be to rework what the current language of his contract is and to put it to 72,000 for the next 5 years. Now, if next year some crazy thing changed in processing, I couldn't say that he wouldn't try to readdress it. But right now, he's committed to not coming back to look for, we increased by 50 arrests, so I want another $3,000. It's gonna be the 72.
Okay.
So as much as I can assure you that it'll stay flat, is what I can give you.
So you're having an attorney write up a contract. No, I understand it does make sense, unfortunately, it's like the body cams, what a great deal that was getting those and, oh, here we come.
Right.
But, everything's going up and quite frankly, I think, having an attorney, an experienced attorney, that you've worked with for many, many years, at a fixed sum of $72,000 per year is a screaming deal, I think.
It really is, and for Tony, having worked with us a long time, he does stuff like I consider to be really outside what his contract requires. He's participated doing trainings with us. I've rewritten policies and he reviewed it for me. Like he doesn't have to do those things. He's available 24/7 to these guys if they're dealing with a case and asking a couple of things about some law stuff. I mean, he has been exceptionally good. And so to your question, Dick, immediately to tomorrow, if he were to say, I resign, I'm not gonna do this, we got a 30-day notice. After that, it'd be one of us trying to make it through prosecuting, and I did it for a little while.
It's not pretty.
It is not the same.
Not the same. I'm sure it's not.
It really is not. So you do get a very good, competent, professional service from him. We couldn't be happier. We've had a handful of them, and that's not to disparage any of those folks, but he's much more amenable. He'll discuss cases, discuss why he's landing where he is as far as if he's offering a plea agreement or not. And that, for the guys who put a lot of work and effort into a case, and sometimes to have a plea go through, you kind of want to understand why. And you don't always get that explanation, but he takes the time to do that. So,
Sure.
And if there's a deficiency, like if he recognizes something where we didn't do this FST that good,
Yeah, I was just curious as how that came about.
you can learn from it.
And
right?
learn from it. And I mean, I know the prosecutor in Wolfboro. I'd even like to discuss it with him. He's also on our board of zoning,
Yep.
Mr. Morgan, which is very knowledgeable, and I'd like to get his intake on that
Yeah.
sometime.
If this is your recommendation to stay with him, you sounds like you like him.
Oh, 100%.
You had him how many years now? 13?
He's pushing 13. I don't remember the exact start date that he had, but he came to us
It
pretty
seems-
fresh out of law school. He did a stint with Merrimack.
Merrimack County Attorney's Office.
It's the only one I can remember
Yeah.
since I've been on.
We had, what was the count name? Which was going around
Red.
back then. We had,
Justice.
Court Justice, yeah. We had Dane St. Hilaire, we had Hewitt. I don't remember his first.
James Hewitt.
Yes. So we've had a handful. He's obviously the most tenured that we've had. And like I said, I think he's got the right balance where he's willing to go through the point of trial, whereas if we were doing the prosecution, we're trying to work out the plea because we don't know what we're doing for a trial, right? So he really has a good balanced approach to doing it. He balances out the need to, because if we're doing court, if you're taking everything to trial, that's a lot of overtime. I don't want all that either. So he's got a good rapport and established himself really strongly up there to be able to leverage that, you're not just giving away the farm on a plea deal. That he's got good evaluation in these cases.
Good legal representation is very hard to find. Gentlemen, do we have any farther questions for them or comments about the increase?
No, I think if there were 10 other prosecuting attorneys dying for our business, we'd be delighted, but I have a feeling there are not.
That's not gonna.
Okay.
So really, I just need, right now, we only need a consensus, because what's gonna happen is, this is gonna change the legal budget entry
Yeah.
for overall budget proposal. But the other thing is we don't have the new draft language of the contract yet, so we'll get that worked out, the draft language, and I will get that back to the board. So your formal approval will be the approval of the contract, and then subsequently the approval of the legal budget. So as long as you're okay, I wanted to make sure that we talked about it ahead of time, so we didn't have this discussion the night budget proposal is due, so.
I think the general consensus is we're okay, we're good?
Yeah,
We're on board.
yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Patient.
Thank you, and have a good evening.
Hey. Go ahead and sit down.
Someone's getting arrested. All right, moving down to town administrator report.
So, I asked the chief to stay for a second. I'll start with this item, just because I got this call right before I came into the meeting, so I wanted you to hear this, because I'm gonna request some police department assistance with it as well. So, just to let you know, I did get a call about Blueberry Lane again. So we have now opened up Blueberry Lane, looks beautiful, did a bang-up job. Apparently, some residents have taken, and the association have taken it upon themselves to dock their boats at the ramp, blocking the ramp from public use and access. There are lawn chairs down there now, there's a boat rack, there's a few people that have moved in. So along those lines, I was planning on reaching out to the police department to see if they could have a duty officer help out with trying to locate the owners and making it known. I think they reside on the right side of Blueberry Lane, is what I've been told. I don't know, that has to be confirmed. But more importantly, I wanted to bring it up to the board tonight, because after they do resolve this, I think it's important, if the board is agreeable, that we make some permanent signage
Yes.
that needs to go down there to, basically, I'll put everybody on notice that it is a public access, it needs to remain open and available for public access to the lake, and it is the property of the town. As long as the board is agreeable with that, I'll talk to legal, and I'll work out some language with Seth and have him print up, have a metal sign made, and we'll put it down there permanently to try to
Absolutely needed.
get that on notice. But if you could help me. Yeah. Right, and we may deal with it again. I mean, we're close to the end of the year, so if we run them out now, probably winter will set in, and it won't be an issue. But that's the problem we're running into now, is now residents are trying to pull their stuff out on the ramp access. There's smaller stuff. I mean, obviously, you're not pulling pontoon boats out there, but the smaller boats, fishing boats, things like that, and recreational, non-motorized, kayaks, things like that. But it's so narrow down there, because really all you got the ramp and then into the water. There's no, doesn't flare out. So, anyways, apparently one of the boat owners was asked to remove it, and was specific in saying, I'm not gonna remove it until the town puts me on notice.
He's on notice.
I guess,
Consider it done.
I guess that's where we're gonna have to go with this, but, yes. But I will say, overall, we've gotten praise, for how that came out and what it looks like up there right now. They did a beautiful job. Even the calls I received on Blueberry Lane about the complaints about the boats and stuff that were left there, they ended by saying, oh, you have a great DPW crew, they did a wonderful job, and commending them, so. So it is a nice area, it's just unfortunate that we're gonna have to deal with these issues, but we'll get some signage up. Okay, thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
why I asked you to stay, chief. Thank you, I'm good, you can leave. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Hurry up before I get to another topic. All right, I got a few other things just to run by the board. I do. I had 6 tonight, so. Take a deep breath. All right, first one is, Ruth Arsenault reached out to me again. She had such a hit with the fundraising for the Welcome to Alton sign. She's been requested by several residents that have put the idea up to me to speak to the board to see if you're interested or in favor of doing something similar to, in the Bay Railroad Square, which apparently the Railroad Square was that area just past Pops. I did reach out to Seth, and we're gonna try to make sure, cause I gotta make sure that we actually own that property. I don't think we do. I think all that down there belongs to the state. It's in the state right away, I should say.
It could be.
So I did say, first and foremost, before we get too rambunctious with any idea to do anything, we need to find out who owns that property or if it's the right of way. But furthermore, just the notion of putting a Alton Bay sign, welcome to Alton Bay Railroad Square, in that location, most of you remember that was the
Yes.
old location
Yes.
of the sign before it got moved up onto the hill.
Yes.
She wanted to see what the board's take was as to whether or not they would be in favor of something like that. Again, it would be totally donated through, their efforts, accepted, but.
I think the first thing she'd have to do is probably just make sure that we own the plot of land
Well, that's
before
what
she does any fundraising.
Well, that's something I'll verify with Seth, because some of the individual.
You need some
We
video.
we do research and find out if it's state owned or us.
I think inclusion of a little, historic significant snippet on the sign would be,
Like right across the way.
Yeah.
It's about the community center and about the water bandstand. There's a green sign
yes.
that was donated.
All right, well, first things first then, as long as the board is okay with it, the idea.
She did a great job last time.
We need to decide what the sign's gonna look like, what it's gonna be made of, but first and foremost, I don't wanna get behind the power curve like we did in the Bay. In the circle, by, receiving the donated sign and then finding state wanted breakaway posts.
Right.
Yeah, we lucked out with that location. I do think it came out beautiful, it did
It's
nice,
actually
but
better where it is.
it is, but we lucked out, 'cause trust me, that wasn't lost on me. So I will, verify that location and bring back to the board progress as we move along. Second one is, deliberative date. According to, the New Hampshire Municipal Association's calendar, the deliberative date, as far as for the first day and the last day, the Tuesday that falls in between would be February 3rd for deliberative.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with making February 3rd? It's the only Tuesday that falls between the dates, but as long as the board is,
Yeah.
consensus that we're okay to.
Yeah.
Tuesday was it, February 3rd?
February 3rd? It'll be 6 PM, starting at 6 PM, at the Prospect Mountain High School.
All right, I think we're good there.
All right.
Yep.
See, we're going right through them, guys. Come on. Moving the November date, November 11th, our meeting date is Veterans Day. So would you guys be amenable to moving it to November 12th, which would be Wednesday?
November 12th.
November 12th. I may not be here, but. Nope, I am gonna be here. It's the week after.
I'm good.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right. Well, if everybody's good with that, we'll go ahead and move that date to, that will be our first November meeting, will be Wednesday, the 12th.
Yep.
And, because of the conflict with Veterans Day. The other thing I wanted to bring up, on the consent agenda, you'll see there are special event applications. Those are new and, will get an approval based on the board's approval, but I did want to let you know, there was a special event application that came in, beforehand for the little pumpkins in the square. It was time sensitive. They wanted to begin the program when it came in, and we were waiting on a board meeting. So it was it was a consistent program that they've put on in the past. So I approved that application, but I did include it in your packets because I wanted the board to, be advised of that. For those of you who
I
weren't.
did notice the date on that, so.
Yeah, so if those of you that maybe weren't on the board, but the board had in the past given me authority to sign special event permits, especially if it wasn't. But I started, because there was some permits that got signed and the board didn't have all the particulars or didn't see them in the read file, I've tried not to approve them without going through the binder, just so everybody's in the loop. Not that I think that there's anything unusual about these applications, they're all events that we do on a regular basis, but I just think it's easier, if there's no time constraint, there's no reason for me not to put it in the packet. I just signed this one in the interim because there was no issues with it, and they really wanted to, get people to start doing with the pumpkins and things like that, so.
Right.
All right, so that was more of an informational thing. Last thing I have for you is, I wanted to get the board's consensus on, the roof situation. So, as you know, by looking upstairs, up at the roof, our roof leak has not been resolved. We've slowed it down quite a bit, but we still run into the issues that with heavy winds we're losing shingles. I don't know what the answer is to it, other than the fact that I don't really think those residential shingles are designed to be that exposed to wind that high up without any wind break. And reason what I wanted to bring up to the board and get your thoughts on is, my thought is, I'd like to put a warrant article forward to replace the roof with a metal roof. The reason what kind of prompted my thoughts, not only obviously because of the problems that we're having, we can't seem to get any resolution to it without just more damage every time a storm comes into play. That's why we've repainted the ceiling twice. I don't wanna have them seal it again and repaint it until we know that we've resolved it. But the other thing is, it was brought to my attention, I provided you with these photographs on here. So this is the Wakefield Town Hall.
I was gonna ask you if that was, because I looked.
Yeah, it's the Wakefield Town Hall, and they just finished this project about a month ago. But what I wanted to show you, that's what this is here. So this is made by Shingle Pro, and it is a metal pressed shingle that's designed to look like a slate roof.
Yep.
Apparently, because they come in panels like this and they're not individually laid, the technology has made it a lot cheaper to install. So I would like to see if the consensus of the board is support of a warrant article, for one, being that the funding has to be allocated. And then two, after funding is allocated, we'll go out to bid like we would any other big project. The reason I brought this in now, and I had them look at it, because honestly, I had no idea what we were gonna look at for money. Like, what was this really gonna cost to come out? And I was surprised, in the sense that I had them come out and do a estimate on the roof. That's why they dropped this off to look at. And again, this will have to go out to bid. It's not, but I needed a sort of a guide. So the quote came in at $92,000, which, to be honest with you, I thought it was gonna be 120 or more. And some of the quotes that I heard from some of the companies that I dealt with over the repairs and the shingles were all in excess of $100,000. So that one actually was better in comparison to what I've heard. But I don't think there's any way around it, that a roof this tall and, this size and large, no matter what we're looking at in roof, it's gonna be close to $100,000. But my only fear is chasing this every year. So far, it's been 2 years straight I've been chasing problems. We've probably dumped close to $20,000 in repairs. That's the lead flashing we replaced. We've replaced shingles. We replaced part of the ridge cap, because the ridge cap blew off. 7 feet of it blew off. Since then, we've lost the middle half, or middle rows of this, I don't know, what is it, west facing? Yeah, west facing, is that, well, yeah, I don't know. The New Durham facing side is,
West is that one.
oh yeah, that's right, west is towards Laconia.
That's the south side.
So, but it's always that side. It's not, this one, I think it gets enough protection from the bigger buildings in the Monument Square area. But this side, we can't, everything along that side has been compromised at one time or another in the last year and a half. And the only time that we can figure it out is I have to send somebody that I know with a drone to go up every time a storm comes and track how many shingles we've lost. Or we find them on the ramp down below, and Stacy lets me know. I just, again, I'm only looking to see whether or not, where the board's appetite is for the proposal of a warrant article.
Do you have the information as to when that roof was done last?
Yes,
Was that
2014
2014?
was
That's
when
what I
it was,
thought
was when it was installed.
Okay.
With residential roofing.
It's a regular, just regular residential, architectural shit.
The architectural shingle, the only thing is, was it done in a manner of high wind capacity, the way it should be nailed off? In other words, it's not a nail pattern that you normally use. You actually put the, and which I'm sure it wasn't. The contractor who did it should have had it less to the weather, so that it doesn't expose so much of every shingle, which is, normally would be 5 inches. High wind areas, you reduce that by 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and supply more nails to keep it down from lifting. I'm sure Drew can concur with that.
Yeah, I will say, one of the, people that I had go up and repair, when they came back down, stated that he had to re-nail off several rows that he could access because he said they were nailed through the single tab and not the double tab. I'm not, I don't claim to be, I know the basics about roofing. I wouldn't go lay a roof myself, so I would rely on you guys' experience for that. But he did make a comment to the fact that it should not have been nailed off like that, because what was happening is that when the wind was catching it, it's ripping it off at the double tab.
That's
right,
right,
the single
it
tab.
snaps it right off.
And that's what is left, is the nail with the single tab just floating.
Yeah, there's actually a reinforcement strip on the architectural shingles, there's a reinforcement strip underneath at the double layer section.
That's right.
That's what you should be nailing through. So,
So it sounds like essentially we just got a bad shingle job. And I don't know if there's any warranty on the shingles at this point?
Well, yeah.
it's just, unfortunately, what they'll defer to a labor.
Yeah.
They'll say they were not installed per manufacturer's recommended installation procedures.
You've been through this.
Oh, yeah, once or 3 times.
Yeah,
I've been through,
absolutely.
definitely.
Not only that, it wasn't a residential application either.
The commercial building, we don't know what they put for paper underneath it, if any.
Yeah, I don't have any idea.
Whether it was ice and water shield, or was it a paper,
Yeah.
roof paper?
Plain
How
old
much
tar
would you
paper.
probably put into the warrant article? What you trying to?
Yeah, I think you should put it in as a warrant article, and
How much would you put in for that?
I would say probably, maybe go to 110, or maybe just add 100.
100 sounds good.
Yeah, just add 100 even.
Add
and
100.
I think, like I said, I will talk to them, because to be honest with you, I'd like to see if they're gonna understand that we have to go to bid anyways.
Right. Right.
But I wanna see how long they would be willing to hold that price if we made a decision in the spring, if they could still hold that.
do we have any lightning arrest systems on this roof as well?
What'd you say, lightning?
Lightning,
Lightning
yeah,
rods.
yeah, like a lightning rod.
Yeah, well, the last one we took down was the radio antenna for the police department. That one was, that acted as
That
a
work?
Yeah.
As a lightning rod?
Oh, it worked. The radio didn't work afterwards, so. Apparently, we just had that, we just upgraded that radio antenna. And when we went up there, when the contractors went up there, they go, that radio antenna doesn't work. The one you could see from the road. And I said, what are you talking about? What do you mean it doesn't work? He says, there's another antenna that's plugged in and laid down sideways in the clock tower, because the big one had already been struck by lightning. I said, great. So that means the new one we just put up is vulnerable, but I do not know of any other.
Okay, I'm just curious, because that adds to the cost in dealing with the roof, because you gotta have a certified, person come up and rework all that.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think we have any.
Okay.
So you just.
All right, I just wanted consensus, because I didn't want it to be the first time when I bring warrant articles forward.
In support?
I'm in support
Yes.
of a warrant article, yes, for 100,000.
Okay. All right. See, painless, right? Right, Andy?
Almost.
Selectmen reports and questions. Mr. Carter, what do you got for me?
Can we keep it just like our previous meeting minutes? Drew Carter said he had a meeting. That's all that got written up last time.
Was it a good meeting?
Yeah, very productive.
Did you take that personally?
I did, as a matter of fact. So we did have a conservation meeting last week, and again, we covered a bunch of permit applications. One of the interesting ones was there's a Mount Major Highway replacing in kind a 29 by 39 boathouse. So, which is interesting. The way it was presented didn't necessarily reflect 100% of what's there. So, other than that, the water testing, I think they've done the last of their testing at this stage of the game. Results have been very good, by the way. Alton Bay is really, the test results have been awesome.
Good.
And they're continuing to work with UNH and getting all that information published, pulled together, and promoted. And the trail system, we're talking about some additional signage for trails. And have been discussing the fact that a lot of the trails are attractive to bikers, to mountain bikers, which
Different type of biker.
you would have to be out of your mind to mountain bike some of these trails, but they do, and so we're trying to limit that because it does do a lot of damage. So, that's it.
Okay. How's it going, Mr. Shea?
The milfoil committee, we had what I think will be our last meeting for the year, and finalized the budget that will be proposed to the town. We did get a bit of a surprise insofar as we had some additional milfoil we didn't expect in some of the marina areas, and so had to use some of what we thought would be surplus funds to deal with it, but I think we'll still end up with a lower budget request amount than in normal years. The Committee on Zoning Amendments has been working and will meet again tomorrow night. And one of the things I didn't realize with that is that every time the darn state passes a change, you have to ripple through all your zoning regulations, and your chances of catching everything are probably zero. So it's an ongoing process, and every year, of course, they make some changes. But the commission is on it, and hopefully we'll catch them all. I did have a couple of questions. One was, it's not really a question, but as I look through some of these, our selectmen booklets, the number of color photographs of various kinds that we have must run our ink costs into the stratosphere. And I wonder if we can live with black and white, at least on some of them, as opposed to these full-page color things, which I'm sure end up being a major expense office-wise. And the other question I had was whether you did anything further. Ryan, I see now that many of the state school districts are in trouble financial-wise because their healthcare trust has failed and they're on the hook for it.
Sure.
I know we had indication that maybe we'd be okay. Any updates?
Yes, I actually have a full update from the superintendent on the situation that came in via email. I will share that via the email policy with the entire board, but also print a copy and put it in the read file. I apologize, I was trying to remember to print it for tonight, so you guys had it on the table, but the superintendent preempted all of the public information that was coming out with a explanation of how this affects Alton and the Barnstead Joint School District, what the scenario is, what the payments look like, where we're at. He has a plan already to absorb those expenses. So to answer your question, it does not look like he is in any fear that we're in trouble. We are gonna have to pay our portions that they eventually settle on. I don't think it's 100% settled on the numbers yet. There's been some legal pushback, both back and forth. But he did a great job of laying it out in a very lengthy, detailed sort of heads up. So I will make sure that that goes out to you folks tomorrow, and I will put a hard copy in the read file, but you'll get it all electronically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy, yours will come by messenger pigeon, but.
Okay. That's all, I'll get it.
That's okay.
Mr. Morris?
CIP, we had a couple meetings there and got the numbers in, and they're gonna be presented. I believe, the first one's the planning board? Yeah. So yeah, that went pretty good. It was a little lengthy, but I think we did a good job of getting the numbers down and moving stuff around to make it equal, close enough for the next 5 years. And then after that, who knows? 'Cause we got a lot of big things. Yeah, we got a lot of big things coming in like 6 or 7 years. So
Shortly.
but yeah. So that was going good. Other than that,
Thank you, Andy.
good.
Mr. LaRochelle?
Yes, last meeting, I mentioned to everyone about the water bandstand. Now that the water level is low, you could see some of the damage that the ice did to the water bandstand this year. So I took the liberty, and I spoke with the rest of the board. I took out a contractor just to evaluate it. I took a video of it, I took pictures, and I had a contractor come out and take a look at it and to get his input on it. So basically getting a quote, if you will, to find out what it would cost to actually do anything, if we can at all. This year, there is some monies in the capital reserve or the escrow account for the water bandstand. It would depend on what would be involved in doing some of the repairs. But if it's something that we could do, once we get some of the, get a meeting together and get the price together to something to maybe try to do this year if it's possible. Because once the water level comes up, you can't get to it. And right now, the water level is down low enough where you can work above the water.
Who's the contractor you had look at it?
I had John Douglas from Douglas Marine and Repair.
He got experience being able, he's
Yeah,
confident.
I've known him
he'll
for a
fix
while.
it?
I've known him for a long
Are you
time.
confident?
And that's what he does. He does.
He used to work for
I'm very confident.
Oh, really?
He does a great job. I've worked with John,
Yeah.
so I called him personally, and he came out and met me, and we went out with the boat, went around it.
And not something you can bid, really, it's kind of a specialty thing.
And I asked a couple of others, but nobody else even has the time to even look at it. So at least he came out and looked at it.
What was his turnaround time with getting us an estimate?
I tried to nail him down. He was hoping within a week, 2 weeks.
Okay.
So get something together, and that's just
Hopefully before
requiring
the next
time.
meeting, we can.
And before the next meeting, I'll talk with the committee and
Hopefully.
and talk with the rest of you and bring it here and see what we can do.
Staple in the community, I'd like to get it fixed.
Yep. And my question is, you'd be disappointed if I didn't ask about the elevator. Where do we stand with the elevator?
I got an email this morning, the part shipped. So the part shipped, I'm just waiting for the date for them to come back in and, so the manufacturer reworked that module.
Yep.
They had to do some programming stuff with that. So it has shipped back to the actual elevator company. And, their service tech there that installs it and does all the testing for the compliance is supposed to give me a date that he's coming back out, so hopefully this week. Either by the end of this week or beginning of next week, but as soon as I get a date, I'll give you a heads up late.
All right, thank you.
Believe me, I'm very anxious too.
I'm sure you are. I didn't want to disappoint you.
I know. He's poking me in the eye.
I have nothing new to report other than my ZAC committee meeting is tomorrow night. That's pretty much it. All right, give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you right up here. 2 seconds. All right, approval of the minutes, September 23rd, 2025, public session. Second?
Aye.
Sweet. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thought that was the next step.
No, you're fine. September 25th, 2025, public session, approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Oh, I should say that. Why am I doing that? Everybody in favor? We're good.
Aye.
That's what that's just what I'm trying to figure out.
I need the consent agenda approval, gentlemen, that Mr. Heath talked about earlier.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have no requests for appointments, public input to bring it down.
Sing.
No, you're fine.
So one minute, I have to make a call with the West Coast, and
What do you got?
this is the late night. So a couple of things.
First name?
I'm sorry, Anna Richardson.
There we go.
You? A couple things real quick. First, the swap shop, if you haven't already been told or seen for yourselves, was beyond a huge success this year. There's some minor tweakings and things that hopefully can be discussed and massaged over the course of the winter, but it's been absolutely amazing for this community. Similarly, the new town sign looks great. Hopefully we find out about what we own down in the bay before we try and put a sign there. It's kind of like the fire truck coming from the federal government. But it looks great. And I've been talking with Ruth about donating some materials to put a base around it. It looks great, but it needs something to kind of finish it up. I have a concern about the conversation about the fireworks. I understand we're in a budget deficit year. We cut back Old Home Week this year, and a lot of people in the community don't understand why. We had more runners this year for the 5K than ever before, almost doubling the number of people. I really like Mr. Shea's comment about consider going to, I lost my word.
Warren.
Article, thank you. Take a look at it. Maybe it's something that as you look at more of the budget things, there can be a little more conversation around, because that is a significant piece in our community. It's part of what brings people here in the summer. It's part of what brings money to our community. And that has a ripple effect in our budgets. If we can't keep residents, if we can't keep our small businesses open, we're not gonna have a budget that we have to be worried about. Speaking of budgets, I am also concerned for our fire department. New Durham seems to be going through some type of fakakta mess down there, and our fire department, as part of reciprocity and mutual aid, is doing more. It's not my business to know what happens in New Durham, but I would request that, to whatever extent you guys can, you look into what's going on, what they intend to do with their department, because that's going to have a ripple effect on our people, our equipment, and our response times in our community. And it's a big deal, especially when we're talking about,
Budgets.
yeah, and people's safety. I mean, how do you prioritize something in a budget over somebody's safety? That said, we don't want to be the people that say, no, we're not coming to New Durham, but we can't expend all of our resources going to help them. So if we can push some buttons through friends, neighbors, allies, et cetera, to figure out what they're doing so that it doesn't have an adverse effect on, A, the immediacy of any response time in our own community, and then B, the bigger impact to our budget, that would be fantastic. And that's it. Thank you very much. And thanks for the support in the community to all the projects that are really making Alton look great again.
We
Awesome.
will look into the fire department.
We'll look into that.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Back
Toast.
And thanks for.
I am gonna respond to one thing that you said real quick.
What's that?
About the, Old Home Week. One of the reasons why it didn't happen, because there was a lack of interest in the committee. There was no committee members.
Literally none.
There was none, so that's why
We
it
had
didn't
nobody
happen.
to run the events.
There was nobody to do the events.
Okay,
The same board that was on it resigned.
okay, so if we can cultivate some more people to step up to do some more things, we can look at.
Of course.
Expanding again?
That's the only reason.
Okay,
That was the only reason.
excellent.
And it was just the town, participation that was always doing their, specific items that they normally do was being done. It was all the extra things that the committee does, like having, special events and things here in the town.
Absolutely.
They weren't together. So
Okay.
that's why it didn't happen.
Well, then, who do I sit down with and start working
Kelly,
with? Pardon?
Kelly Trudell.
Kelly Trudell.
Okay, excellent, then I will get in touch with Kelly, because, as you may know, my mom was the cookie mom for the 5K forever, and Joy has taken that up and has become her thing, but we were also the ice cream scoopers and did the dog show and tell, whatever they call that, so yes, I will definitely talk to Kelly, because it's a big deal in this community. There are, I know several families that own rental properties, and they get more money during Old Home Week, just like they do during 4th of July and Bikers Week, because people are so engaged in the activities. And when renters want to come for that week, That's pretty cool. You know, it's a very positive thing for our community. So thank you, and thank you for that reply.
Thank you.
We'll make your phone call.
Yes,
Thanks, Donna. I just want to make sure that we handled everything prior to her. I know I did it rather hastily, but was that all satisfactory? Yeah,
I
okay.
thought about 4 more things that I wanted to.
That's on, we're good. See, public, we'll close public input. We have no non-public this evening?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
God.
Just second that motion.
Just prompting it. I know, like, you say it, you say non-public, you say no, non-public.